Hi guys, my name is Faith Borges. Today in the audience we have Paris as the cameraman, Stephen as a spectator. All right, so let's begin. For today's persuasive speech, we're going to be talking about a need for policy change regarding women's health. So the specific purpose of today's speech is to persuade the audience, you folks, to support a policy change that would allow all women access to essential items. For the thesis, we need to understand that no woman should have to scarf up money in order to afford a product meant for a natural process that's not a choice to have. I'm a woman. I have firsthand experience regarding the cost of these products and how expensive they become over time. And menstruation is a completely natural process that we're being charged for, right? Products like pads and tampons, they're labeled as women's luxury items, which is why the price never seems to go down. We're paying this luxury price for necessary items that we need every month. So we'll talk about cultural taboos. So many cultures frown upon speaking about periods, even mentioning it, right? So women are often separated from their family or their tribe in order to deal with this monthly process in private. It's a sign of womanhood. So you turn, 13, you have your period, you go alone. You're 13 by yourself in a room just like bleeding, right? These are done by outdated taboos that open up shame and embarrassment for these women, causing women to deal with menstruation alone in isolation, like we said. But it's important to know that we're not alone, okay? There's more than half the world's population is, consists of women or girls who will experience menstruation sometime in their life. Even with that many people, there's still the issue of period poverty. So all these people suffer from, not being able to afford these products. So period poverty refers to limited access of menstrual hygiene products, as well as the consequences for women who can't afford it. So in a study done by the World Health Organization, they found that more than 90% of young women miss an average of 4 or 5 days of school during their period. And that's because they don't have access to these products. So they'll stay home, they don't have the correct hygiene, so they just stay at home. This can cause a lot of health issues because women who can't afford these products, they often improvise. So they use things like banana peels, leaves, old newspapers. They often even reuse tampons for multiple days and pads. That's not supposed to happen, right? A lot of women out there, hi guys, I know you know, toxic shock syndrome is real. So it's when you overuse tampons, especially for over 3 days. A lot of times it's tampons that are extra absorbent, so like super tampons, super plus tampons, those ones, ultra tampons. It's when you use it over 3 days, after a while, it releases toxins in your body, and you can literally go into toxic shock and die from what's going on, right? It can also cause bacterial infections if you overuse pads, so it's just sitting there causing infections, causing UTIs, causing yeast infections. And for a lot of us women, that's not, something that's a long-term issue. We can go to the doctor and get it taken care of immediately. But for some women, that's not the case. If you keep it there for a long period of time, you can get ovarian cysts, pelvic cancers, all types of things because of the toxins that these are releasing. So this is a state of medical emergency that needs to happen. Money spent. Women, when you accumulate all the days that we spend bleeding, it's 2,555 days. That is 7 years that we spend bleeding in our lifetimes, okay? 7 years of giving these big companies money for tampons and pads that we need for these days, right? It's no wonder that the tampon and pad companies are worth, worldwide now, they're worth over 50 billion USD, okay? In America alone, it's expected to reach up to 6 million by 2024. That's a lot of money, especially when you consider that the price keeps raising. It's not like they need any money and the price keeps going up, right? Other costs like painkillers, Tylenol, Motrin, those things, and hormonal birth controls. Hormonal birth controls don't just help with birth control, obviously. They can also help with regulating your period pains, things like that. They're often just as expensive and just as inaccessible. A lot of health insurance doesn't cover it fully, so they can be extremely expensive. Affordability, so we're going to talk about that. February 2019, Federation of Gynecology and Obstetrics reports 1 in 10 young women are unable to afford protection for their period. So this is a little screenshot from Walmart. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's $9.27, okay, for a box of tampons. And this is like a 50 pack of tampons. So it's a jumbo size, $9.27. This is in Nevada. So Nevada is one of the many states, little list of states, who don't tax these products. And that's because we don't have state tax. But either way, so in other places, I used to live in Hawaii, and that goes up to like $15. $15 for a pack of tampons, right? And then that also doesn't put into account women who have multiple women living in their household. So like 4 women in one household can't survive off of 50 tampons in a month. So now you're spending like $30, $40 every month. And for a lot of women, that's too much, especially for necessity, right? Worldwide action is actually taking place. So this is a really big issue worldwide, not just in America. November 25th, 2020, Scotland becomes the first country in the world to make period products free for all. So they passed a bill that states basically, oh, if you are in need of tampons and pads, blah, 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 you can go to these shelters, request them, and they will give you these products. They even give you painkillers, things like that. Oftentimes, in Scotland especially, their hormonal birth control is often free. Very little charge, $2, $3, right? The same year, so this is in 2020 as well, the UK eliminates tax on tampons and other sanitary products. So instead of overtaxing these prices just because they're women's luxury items, right? They took that off completely. So they're the latest of several countries getting rid of that. The UK also plans on tackling stigma around periods. So instead of us being ashamed of what we're going through and what's happening, they plan on educating, the youth, especially in high school, what's going on, what's happening with you. The boys, this is what's going on. We need this change, right? New Zealand also made free period products. I believe it was at the beginning of this year in January. So that's awesome too. America. What's going on, right? So there's a handful of states that already don't tax period products like we talked about. Nevada doesn't have state tax, so we don't do that. Some states are even mandating free products in public schools, middle schools and high schools, especially when you start your period during middle school. So we're kind of behind regarding policy change. I mean, all these other countries are making whole bills being passed to make sure that all women are getting this necessity. So we're kind of just putting a blanket, a band-aid, if you will, over a bigger issue that'll just bleed out, right? Conclusion. Let's take some action, okay? Policies and bills are being passed in Scotland and the UK, and obviously that's making it known this is a real issue. It's very important. It's a matter of, health emergency. We need help. Things are happening to our ovaries. And all women deserve access to these products. So even if you don't have hundreds of dollars coming in every single week, you should still be able to take care of yourself once a month, right? Whether it's through government mandates or if you just abolish tampon tax completely, pink tax, taxing anything that's a woman's product just because it's made for women. So women across America, they're struggling, and they're struggling to afford this necessity, and it's our job to push for this change of policy. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Faith Borges. The audience, again, we have Paris as the cameraman, so great, Oscar award winner, and Steven as a spectator. Thanks, guys.